Okay. The regular meeting of the Bellleville Zoning Board of Adjustment for March 3rd, 2016 will now come to order. Clerk, call the roll.
Caruso.
Here.
Giordano.
Here.
Lefucci.
Here.
Montalbano.
Here.
Smith.
Here.
Sheldon.
Here.
Higgins. Here. Milano.
Here.
Delgertia.
Here. Will everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Secretary, has notice of this meeting been given in accordance with the Sunshine Law?
Yes, Mr. Chairman, notice that this meeting has to be expressed in the public in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act.
Okay. Has everyone looked over the minutes that came in our packet?
Yes.
Does anybody want to make any changes or anything? Motion to approve the minutes? Motion made by Mr. Caruso, seconded by Mr. Smith. Clerk, call the roll.
Caruso.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Lefucci.
Yes.
Montalbano.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Sheldon.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Milano.
Yes.
Delgertia.
Yes. Okay, applications for adjournment. I have two correspondences. One is for the first case on the agenda, ZB 2015-32, Canatonis Realty Limited Liability Corporation at 318-320 Cortlandt Street. That is for a certification of an unconforming use. This letter was sent by Mr. Piromali from the law firm of Gascione and Pamaco. It states, I am writing to respectfully request an adjournment with regard to the above captioned matter. We are requesting that Canatonis Realty Limited Liability Corporation application be scheduled to be heard at the March 3rd, 2016 meeting of the Bellleville Zoning Board of Adjustment be adjourned until the next regularly scheduled meeting date of April 7th, 2016. The applicant is seeking this adjournment due to the fact that as a result of the delay in being able to occupy the subject property, the prospective tenant decided to terminate the lease. Although other prospective tenants have expressed interest in occupying the property, no lease agreements have been entered into to date. Considering the same, we are requesting this adjournment so that we may present to the board an application with an identified tenant and their specific use proposed. As this application was originally heard at the February 4th, 2016 meeting of the Bellleville Zoning Board of Adjustment, legal notice has already been mailed to property owners within 200 feet of the subject property and published in the Bellleville Times newspaper indicating the February 4, 2016 hearing date. Proofs of the same were submitted on February 1st, 2016. With this in mind, we respectfully request the Chairman of the Bellleville Zoning Board of Adjustment permit the adjournment of this matter to April 7, 2016 meeting without further notice or appearance on behalf of the applicant being requested. In consideration of this adjournment request, the applicant agrees to suspend any and all applicable time limits for municipal action for the duration of the adjournment requested. Thank you in advance for your time and assistance in this matter. Of course, should you have any questions or need any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact this office. With regards, Michael J. Paromali, Esquire. Okay, so that's the first case on our agenda, ZB 2015-32, and that will be adjourned to April 7th, 2016. And there will be no further notice either in the mail or in the newspaper. Okay, the second one we have is also from the law firm of Gascione and Pamaco. And of course also signed by Mr. Palmano. And that is concerning the last case on our agenda tonight, ZB 2015-34, 27 King Street, Delia. Okay, it's actually 2729 he's got listed, block 8403, lots 1 and 2. I am writing to respectfully request an adjournment with regard to the above captioned matter. We are requesting that the application for 2729 King Street scheduled to be heard at the March 3rd, 2016 meeting of the Belmont Zoning Board of Adjustment be adjourned until the next regularly scheduled meeting date of April 7th, 2016. The applicant is seeking this adjournment due to the unavailability of one of the expert witnesses on the date in question. As this application was scheduled to be heard at the March 3rd, 2016 meeting of the Belmont Zoning Board of Adjustment, legal notice has already been mailed to property owners within 200 feet of the subject property and published in the Bellleville Times newspaper, indicating the March 3rd, 2016 hearing date. Proofs of the same have been submitted to you contemporaneously. Mr. Regler, you have any problem with the notices? Because I think they submitted them to you tonight.
I do not recall seeing the notices. Let me check.
You just told me you got it.
Yes.
All right, is there any
I got
problems
those
with
this afternoon. No problems at all with the notice.
With this in mind, we respectfully request the Chairman of the Belmont Zoning Board of Adjustment permit the adjournment of this matter to the April 7, 2016 meeting without further notice or appearance on behalf of the applicant being required. In consideration of this adjournment request, the applicant agrees to suspend any and all applicable time limits for municipal action for the duration of the adjournment requested. Thank you in advance for your time and assistance in this matter. Of course, should you have any questions or need any additional information, please do not hesitate to contact this office. With regards, Michael J. Pyramali, Esquire. Now, that's the last case on the agenda, and that is an applicant proposing to convert the two-family dwelling into a six-family dwelling. Currently, there is an existing two-family dwelling on the property and a one-story existing warehouse building in the rear. There will be an addition to the warehouse for the 4 additional units. Also, there will be an addition foyer to connect the building. Also, the applicant is asking for a reverse subdivision to merge the 2 lots. That's ZB 2015-34. Anybody interested in this case? It is adjourned to April 7, 2016, and there'll be no further notices either in the mail or in the newspaper. Okay, any other cases that someone wants an adjournment? No. Okay, then the first case on the agenda is we will continue where we left off last month on ZB 2015-30, Helga Kamal, 73 Watchung Ave. You going to say something? Oh, okay. There we go. Yes, sir.
But
Hello.
all file too often will create a C file. Finishing up where we left off last time.
Yes. Did you get the background information the
I
board
did.
requested?
I have copies of the deed for the whole board if they would like.
Perfect. So we'll mark those into evidence. Do we have any evidence so far on this, or no?
The only thing that we have is the A1 is the notice. And Mr. File, just so we're on the same page, you were here in February.
Correct.
And from what I understand, the subject property is vacant. The client wants to construct a single-family home with a garage, closed garage. I believe it's a very odd-shaped, narrow lot. And Mr. Kamal was sworn last month and offered brief testimony as to when he purchased it. That's as far as we
Correct.
got.
We have Ms. Kamal here today, who has a
So
better
based
grasp
upon
of
that,
it.
anyone who was not here last month should not be participating in this case. Good day, testimony was given last month. Okay, Mr. Caruso? So,
You can ask questions.
you can ask questions, thing is you can't participate in the vote. You can, yes, you were here. Who was the people not here last month?
Richard and John.
Richard and John, okay, so we got that straight. Go ahead.
So is this, hold on, is this,
We're going to mark this deed A2. And this is deed dated January 4, 2007.
A2?
A2. The deed is A2.
A2.
Oh,
The deed is A2. Between Mr. and Mrs. Orlenzo and Ms. Long.
We're here on block 2102, lot 25. As you can see from the deed, they purchased lot 25 and lot 4 together. Lot 4 is directly behind lot 25. The questions that we had was where they separated, how they separated. They bought the two lots together, but they were already separated, and they sold lot 4 in its entirety. They hadn't, other than that, they didn't subrogate or do anything else themselves. Lot 25 is as maintained when they bought it.
So, if I may ask,
Yeah,
so you're telling me they were back to back,
correct.
right? Right, and you said two things. You said they bought them separate, and then they
Well,
did they subdivide it?
no,
No, it was subdivided already,
correct.
in two lots, right? They bought both lots,
correct,
right? And then, that's it. They sold one of the two lots that they bought.
exactly.
That's my only question.
It's
Thank
a
you.
good question. I don't know if we want to swear her in, because I think she's,
You know, I'll let the council.
Yes, if she's going to testify,
it's more if you have questions for her. She's going to be the one that'll field the questions instead of.
She won't be the one that would, they answered my question. My question was, did they buy the lots subdivided or not? And in her testimony, I don't want to put words in her mouth, they bought two separate lots, correct?
why don't we swear her in just to get it on the record? Could you raise your right hand, please? With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony that you have given and will give shall be the truth to help you God?
Yes.
Could you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Elka Kamal, Kamel,
And you're the owner of the subject lot?
correct.
Okay. You were asked some questions by the vice chair. I believe you said that you purchased both lots
Correct,
and sold one,
correct.
but there was no subdivision.
They were already, yeah.
They were already
separated.
subdivided. Okay.
And that was my question, they were separated already, they weren't next to each other, they were back to back to each other. And the reasoning for my questioning was, this is an undersized lot, I wanted to know whether they created the undersized lot by selling any of the adjacent lots, you know, on left or right side. And that was part of my thought process. So you're telling me no.
No,
You didn't know, did you own any of the lots on the left or right at any time?
no, only those two.
That's the only question I have.
Let me ask you, do you own 280 Belmont Avenue?
I already sold that property.
You sold that, you bought them
I bought
together,
it, yes,
and then you sold them separately.
correct.
Is that what you did?
But they were two separate lots already.
Yeah.
Am I correct in that? When you bought them, they were two separate lots.
Correct.
But they bought them together.
Well, at the same time, and a closing was two, right?
If you look at the
The
deed,
deed says
there's
4.
two separate descriptions, one for lot 4 and one for lot 25.
Lot 4.
Well, what happened was one lot was the parking for the other, because now the other one has no parking. That's what happened.
But they didn't divide it. They're not the ones that divided.
Didn't create.
They didn't create the... They didn't create... Right, they did that. And that was my concern before we moved forward. Okay. That's it for me.
Does
I don't
anyone else have
want
any
to...
questions?
Anyone else on the board have questions on the application?
The witness. Of this witness.
Yes, if this witness.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Anybody else, any members of the public have questions of the witness? No. Do you have any other witnesses?
Yes, we have none.
Okay, for your next witness.
We called Denise Wilson.
Hi, could you raise your right hand, please? With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
Yes, I do.
Could you state your name and spell your last name, please?
My name is Denise Wilson, W-I-L-S-O.
Thank you.
Ms. Wilson, can you give the board the benefit of your work experience and education?
Yes, I'm a licensed architect in New Jersey. I've been licensed for 20 years. I've worked on several projects of various scale, residential, temporary, warehousing also.
What municipalities?
Some townships.
South Plainfield, Montclair, West Orange.
I'd like to make a motion to accept.
Accept.
I agree.
As an architect.
Ms. Wilson, have you reviewed the proposal that we're here for today?
Yes, I have.
And are you familiar with the lot and the variables involved?
Yes, I am.
Can you briefly explain the building as it's proposed?
The owner wants to build a single-family frame dwelling, approximately two-story dwelling, approximately 2,280 square feet, 25 feet, 7 inches high. There's no basement. There's parking on the lot, a garage, and then there's some space in front of the house for parking.
Do you have any exhibits that show?
Ms. Wilson, are these plans that the board already has, but you put on a mortar board?
Correct.
Okay, then we don't need to mark these, Council, we have them.
No problem.
And the house shall consist on the first floor of a parking garage, kitchen, living and dining area, and a powder room. The second floor is 3 bedrooms, master suite with a master bath, second bathroom, and laundry.
Can you also describe the outside aesthetic?
The exterior of the house
Yes.
is going to, we use the house to...
Could you keep your voice up, please, Ms. Wilson?
At 71,
Using that.
Watchung Ave, that house we use as the basis for this house, which is basically mirroring that, same materials, brick face at the lower level, vinyl siding for the remainder of the house, and asphalt stairs for the interior.
And you said that there was a garage on this property.
Yes,
So
it's on the first, it's included in the house.
Does anyone have any questions for the architect?
Questions for the architect by members of the board? Mr. Mafucci?
The garage door opening, is that at ground level or is it a foot higher? I'm looking at A300,
Yes,
and it shows a 1 foot foundation. That's higher than the bottom of the door.
that's for the foundation where we'll be going around, the opening is going, for the garage door, is going to be down to where the garage door is.
So that foundation is not going across the driveway, it's at 1 foot. I mean, where the door opens.
Correct.
Any other, Mr. Valano, I think you had a question?
Yeah, just to be sure, on the same level of the garage, right? What's behind the garage? Because I'm looking at your drawing. The drawing, to me, gives an appearance that there's living space behind
Yes,
it.
it is. You go up some steps to the living area. The garage is going to be at grade. When you go upstairs, because there's stairs on the outside to go up to the first floor.
Right, so,
behind that
but what we're seeing on the drawing here is really the first floor, not the grade level like the garage.
It's both, because you drive into the garage at grade, and then when you're inside the garage, there are stairs that go up to the first floor.
But there's no living space
Because
at
there's no,
grade.
No.
there's no living space,
No.
underneath that.
Oh, no. There's no
So-
basement, no.
The garage wall stops right there, and inside the garage, I can 1, 2, 3, 4
Correct.
steps, whatever,
Up to the...
goes up to the first level. Yeah, but the floor of the first level is above the garage
Yes,
door.
under the first floor is gonna be a crawl space.
It's a
Not
crawl
like
space,
this.
that's the question I think. Okay. I just wanted to make sure it wasn't a living space.
No.
Okay. That's all I have.
Yes,
Ms. Wilson, briefly, you've been in the neighborhood, is that?
Yeah.
From reviewing your plans, it appears that there are several other similar-sized lots in the area.
Yes.
Do most of them or all of them have homes on them?
There's one right next door, and there's some further down. This is mainly primarily residential.
Are those homes similar in size and style to what
Yes,
you're
they are.
proposing? All right, that's all I have.
the one directly to the left, similar,
Yes.
correct?
We approved those a few years ago.
Any other questions by members of the board? Questions of the witness by members of the public? You have another witness?
Said,
Do you wish to sum up?
yes, very briefly. I went through a lot of the positive and negative.
One thing, I'm sorry, I did forget one thing. Any members of the public wish to give testimony on this case? None, then you can sum up. You had a question?
I have a question for Mr. Di Lorenzo.
Swear Mr. Di Lorenzo in, please.
Frank, with regard to this application, do you swear your testimony shows the truth?
Yes.
Frank Di Lorenzo, zoning officer, Township of Belmont.
Go ahead.
To be considered a bedroom, must there be a closet?
Yes, there should be a closet.
Because the one bedroom doesn't show it.
These aren't construction plans, these are just plans. When he comes in with us, he's getting the building department and construction
Well,
plans.
I'm considering how would it be marketed, as a one bedroom or a two?
That's up to them.
All right, that was my concern.
Is that what there is, 2 bedrooms?
Look, there was
Three.
I'm sorry.
It's a 3-bedroom house.
I'm sorry, well, one of the bedrooms is back, so we'll show it.
Yes, it's a three-bedroom house, and when the drawings will be prepared for construction, the drawings will be prepared according to all the requirements of the current zoning code and the uniform zoning code, the building code, and the uniform construction code.
All right.
Nobody member of the public. You may sum up then.
Sure. We went through the positive and negative criteria previously. I've had an opportunity to speak with the Maass. I'm very excited about this project. I think that it would be very good for the township of Bellleville to introduce a new home here. Instead of just having another vacant lot, we bring in new people, new blood, can do nothing but positive for the area. And I hope that you guys all approve this for your time. Thank you.
There is one thing, and I just noticed it, sorry. It says here, the side yards. We require 5 feet each, 14 feet total at least. But I don't know if this is a typo. It says 3 feet on one side and 3 inches on the other? Am I seeing that right? Yep, it is.
Oh, it's 3 and 3.
Oh, it's 3 feet and 3 feet. No, I'm just looking at the first page of your report. It said 3 feet and 3 inches.
Okay, I believe it's 3 feet and 3 feet.
Yeah.
3 and 3 is okay, okay. I can go for 3 and 3, yeah.
That's really what the plan though.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Anything else? That's it?
That's it. I'm willing to do some.
Gentlemen, your pleasure. I'm at your disposal. Ladies and gentlemen, I entertain a motion, one way or another. Motion made by Mr. Smith to approve. Any conditions, gentlemen?
We would have our normal conditions, and the one that we picked up tonight was, if the board wants it, no living space at the grade level.
Yeah, well,
There is,
they can't.
Control
Just-
that.
there is no living space.
It means,
Yeah.
it's a crawl space.
And technically, once we vote on this, if they do build, or if there is a problem with the bedrooms being undersized,
That's Frankie's.
that's Frankie's job, and also they cannot increase the outside of the building without coming back before us.
Right.
They can't change the outside dimensions of the building without coming back before us.
And, you know, I'm just gonna remind everybody, you can't render a lot,
Oh, I agree.
you know, you
I
can't
agree
do
with
that.
I know.
It's not what we're here for,
That's not what I'm arguing.
so.
I'm just saying, if they wanna change the outside dimensions for any reason, they have to
As
come
I
back.
stated earlier, if they had created this undersized situation, that's why I asked the attorney to come back with that information. If they created this situation, my position would be different.
They would have a problem.
I would have had a problem, because now you created this and you're coming to us to fix what you created, and then I would have a problem. And, you know, let's not forget, there's identical homes that we already previously approved on this board on that block. So, right next to being one of them, so. I'm okay with this particular. I'm not crazy about undersized lots, but, you know, remind everybody, you can't render a piece of property unbuildable.
And partially, it's the town's fault, because the town is the one who has these like this. And they could always do a reverse subdivision on their own.
Well, if you don't mind, I'm not gonna lay blame.
Well, I'm just saying,
You
you
wanna
buy
lay
it
blame-
together to conform
If you
with all the
wanna lay blame,
requirements,
use your
and then
name.
there's two lots involved. I mean, even my house has
If
two
you wanna lay
lots.
blame, use Jerry DeLucia and not William Gordon.
Okay,
Make sure you get the spelling.
all right, get the stuff correct,
DeLucia. Okay?
all right?
My motion is still on the table.
Yes, but I need a second,
I'll
Don.
second.
Okay, second by Mr. Mafucci. Clerk, call the roll. And remember, Mr. Caruso and
I
Mr. Giordano will not be participating.
Mafucci,
Yes.
Montalbano.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Milano,
Yes.
Sheldon,
Yes.
Higgins. No. Delgertia.
Yes. Approved, 6-1.
Go, go in peace.
Go on, please.
We'll do a resolution.
Next case on the agenda would be Clara Maass Medical Center, ZB 2015-35. Applicant is proposing an addition on the third floor for an expansion of the surgical services. The addition is approximately 5,350 square feet. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, Angelo Cifelli Jr., firm Pyro Jr., Cifelli, Paris, and Jenna Temple, representing the applicant.
Mr. Sabelli, let me take a minute. Did you get my notice issued last time?
There was a,
Ledger.
the Star Ledger I failed
Yeah.
to publish. I have submitted an affidavit of publication.
Yes, that's it. That has been rectified. Let's put the paper on February 12th. Notice and publication period in order. I'll mark that A1.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members of the board, this is a brief opening. I want to touch on why we're here, the necessity of our being here. As I'm sure the board is well aware, the Clara Maass Hospital is a conditional use at the site of which it is. There is one condition the hospital does not meet. The ordinance requires 20% lot coverage. The hospital already covers 31% of the property. Therefore, any application that increases lot coverage has to come before this board. You will hear from testimony tonight that the lot coverage we're increasing by this application is 203 square feet. That's it, because the actual addition is being built on top of an existing structure. So it is actually 3/1000ths of a percent increase. Despite that small increase, we have to be here. And in light of that, we will offer testimony first about the necessity, why the hospital believes this is something the hospital needs. We will also go into some operational aspects. I will also present testimony from an architect to show you what the addition will look like and its dimensions, etc. Finally, we will have, our engineer go over the site plan aspects, and finally a planner to hit the positive criteria for this beneficial use. With that brief introduction, Mr. Chairman, I will call my first witness.
I have two questions before we get started. First question is, this is a D application?
It's a D3.
D3.
Okay, so it still requires 5 yes votes?
Yes.
Okay, second question is, because of the addition to the building, does it require any additional parking?
The answer to that, and you'll have testimony, is no.
Okay. You may proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to call my first person, Mr. Rico.
Raise your right hand, please. With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, so help you God?
Yes.
Would you state your name and spell your last name, please?
First name is Americo, A-M-E-R-I-C-O, and Coley, C-R-I-N-C-O-L-I.
C-R-I.
N-C-O-L-I.
Thank you.
Mr. Coley, can you please give the board your position at the hospital?
I'm Assistant Vice President for Facilities Design and Construction for the Barnabas Health System, of which Clara Maass Medical Center is one of our affiliates.
And in that capacity, are you fully familiar with the application before the board?
I am.
Could you briefly talk to the board about why Clara Maass believes that this surgical services addition is required?
Clara Maass Medical Center currently operates 8 operating rooms at the level 3 of the hospital. What we're proposing is an addition on top of an existing structure, raising it up to the 3rd floor to line up with the 3rd floor surgical suite. The current operating rooms are approximately 400 square feet in size on average in that area. With the advances in technology and medicine and bringing more equipment into the rooms, robotics, the rooms at that size are markedly inadequate, especially for some of the specialized cases that we do at Clara Maass. Orthopedics is one of them. Generally, those rooms want to be a minimum of 600 square feet. We also operate 4 operating rooms on the 1st floor as well. Those are also 400 square feet. Those operating rooms are currently located in the existing building that was built in 1955-ish. Based on that configuration, the floor-to-floor heights, the restrictions of the corridor, there's really no way to expand those rooms. Even if we could make the rooms wider, we need ceiling height in the rooms to accommodate all of the booms and lights that go along within a surgical operating environment. Anywhere in the existing footprint of that 3rd floor makes it very difficult. Building this addition adjacent to the 3rd floor provides us that ability to provide brand new operating rooms that are state-of-the-art, allowing us to introduce the technology that we really need to use for these cases. It's going to allow us to continue to provide excellent care that we're doing in the rooms that we've been struggling with now.
Mr. Crincoli, will the addition of these operating rooms result in the increase in the number of beds at the hospital?
No.
Will it result in the increase of the number of employees at the hospital?
No. Another reason for these rooms is because the rooms that we have now, there's 2 rooms, I believe, that are in the back of the surgical area on the 3rd floor that are the largest rooms, and those are the rooms that are competing for time the most time. As a result, our OR schedule goes very long into the evening. So this allows us also the ability to decompress that OR schedule, allowing cases to be spread out. Cases that are always fighting for the larger room now have the rooms to do the cases in, and it allows us to have rooms, operating rooms, available for the emergent cases that potentially come in during the day, or in the evening as well.
And isn't it also true that the addition of these state-of-the-art operating rooms will also enable you to do some restructuring of recovery rooms in order to meet current standards?
Correct. So there is a Department of Health licensing requirement based on the number of operating rooms that you have. You have a proportional amount of prep and recovery space provided for those operating rooms. Because we're technically adding the 4 rooms, we're required to add these additional prep and recovery areas. The current prep and recovery area of Clara Maass is not one that we're too fond of. It doesn't provide a lot of privacy, it's very cramped, it doesn't meet the current code guidelines. So this also gives us the opportunity to increase the square footage provided to each patient bay, giving the patients and their families the privacy that they deserve. Allows the staff to provide better care for those patients. It also allows us to increase patient support space. So those are the areas of like storage and all the other necessary items that we need staff, the lounges for staff as well, for supporting the surgical suite.
Mr. McCauley, Chairman asked a question earlier. I answered as the representative of Clara Maass under oath. I will ask you, will this addition require any additional parking?
No, I don't believe so.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
You made a statement. How much additional space did you say we were looking for?
Well, the actual addition is 5,000 and some change.
Oh, yeah, that's what I'm reading. That's
Right,
not what you
right.
said.
Well,
So,
from the lot
square that.
coverage, Commissioner, from the lot coverage point, which is why we're here, because of lot coverage, because that's on an existing, it doesn't add to lot coverage. What is added to lot coverage, as you'll see when I bring my architect, is 2 columns and a stair enclosure, which comes out to 251 square feet.
You're talking about additional lot coverage.
Right, as the lot coverage. There's no question that the surgical services addition
It's 5,300.
5,300 square feet.
Okay, and that goes on top of
The existing
existing
structure.
structure.
Right.
So you're
In other words,
saying,
had those columns,
then inside the existing structure, you wouldn't have increased your lot coverage at all?
no. Had it not been for the necessity of the 2 columns,
Right.
it wouldn't be here at all.
Okay. I just wanted to see how you got to that assessment. And I guess to your point, and I'm gonna ask Frank, is he correct that it doesn't need any additional parking, Frank?
No, that's how I see it too, because there's
Okay.
no beds up there. I believe Tommy saw that same way.
You're my expert, that's why I'm asking. Okay.
Exactly. Now, what we're saying is now there's gonna be a total of 8 operating rooms, is that what?
No, so on the 3rd floor, there's currently 8 existing operating rooms.
Okay.
We're adding 4 to the 3rd floor, so there'll be a total of 12 on the 3rd floor. There's an existing 4 on the 1st floor.
So what are we gonna have total?
Total will be 16 licensed operating rooms.
16 operating rooms. Very good.
No, hopefully for none of you.
Yeah, hopefully.
Nobody's gonna have to wait for an emergency.
My only question was, so you're adding 4, right? Are you renovating the others or no? Just adding 4?
We're adding the 4.
That are hopefully larger, for more advanced equipment to be housed.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there's cosmetic upgrades to the corridor, you know, we're sprinklering the floor.
Okay.
You know, so there are certain things that are a byproduct of the expansion that we're doing that will need to be done there, but in terms of technology and those types of things.
But your primary focus, if I may, is for these suites that you're asking for, is to go larger than the 400 square feet that
Correct.
you have. These will be 600, you said,
Approximately 615, 620, something.
to accommodate more sophisticated equipment.
Correct,
Am I correct?
correct.
Okay, that's all I have.
Is there any reason why the operating rooms are on alternate floors? You have 4 on the 3rd floor, 8 on the 3rd, and now we're gonna have 4 on the 5th?
Third.
Fifth floor.
No, it's the 3rd floor.
Third floor, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I apologize for the confusion. The operating room, I can't speak to why they put the 4 on the 1st floor. That was probably from the late 80s, early 90s. They were set up initially as same-day surgery operating rooms, so the thought at the time was you want them on the ground floor for the patients to get in and out. That's why there's inefficiency that's built into having separate floors for operating rooms, and that's one of the reasons we're trying to get these operating rooms up to the 4th.
Any other questions by members of the board? Any questions of the
Didn't
witness?
we approve eight operating rooms last time?
No.
No.
No?
I think the last case we had to do with offices and intensive care units,
It's intensive care.
Oh, okay, all right.
which is the current construction.
That's what the current construction is.
Any other members of the board have question of the witness? Any members of the public have a question of the witness based upon testimony given? None. You may call your next witness.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Could you raise your right hand, please, sir? With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
State your name, spell your last name, please.
John Gerbner, Gerbner.
Thank you.
Mr. Governor, could you give the board the benefit of your education and professional licenses?
I'm a registered architect, registered in the state of New Jersey. I have a Master's of Architecture degree.
And have you testified before zoning boards in New Jersey before?
I have.
Could you just give us a couple of...
I've testified in West Orange and also in Maass.
That's good.
I would offer him as an expert.
Yes.
in architecture.
As long as his license is current, no problem.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Correct.
Could you give the board the benefit of running through what is proposed and what it will look like?
Sure. So we
Why
talked
don't
about...
we mark this A2,
Yeah, I
Mr.
will.
Spelling?
This was prepared by your office?
And after it's marked, you can explain to the board what it is.
Yes. Good morning.
Good.
Could you tell the board, this is a two-sided
Right.
I
exhibit.
said I couldn't work.
So could you please tell the board, this side here, which is the board, what does that represent?
That side represents what's here today.
That is what it currently looks like.
Was that marked A, which one was marked A2?
Well, the whole thing is two-sided, so you want, unless you want to mark 1A2.
Why don't we mark, because one's
This
before,
would be-
one's after, they're
This
different.
would be A3.
Okay, so A2 will be the
At the after, unfortunately, we went to
the proposed.
Right. So that's what it currently looks like. This is the area where the addition will take place, is that correct?
That's correct.
And A2 is what it will look like after the addition is.
That's right. That's right.
Now, I think it's important, you've walked the site, you're familiar with the site.
Yes.
Just for the benefit of the board, would how much of this addition would be able to be seen from the street?
The only section that would be able to be seen, and that's from Magnolia, and that's for a little bit of Magnolia as you go by, would be this section up here. And we actually have another exhibit that'll kind of show that. We'll mark that into.
This is the back of the building, correct?
It is
Yes.
in the back.
It is in the back.
Is this a two-sided or?
Yes, it is. We're all two-sided. Which one are you going to show first?
I think I'll show the existing first this
All right,
time.
let's
just
do A4.
A4,
That's
the other
the
will be
existing
A5.
view from,
Magnolia.
okay?
Can I ask a question? Since this is in the back, we approved about, I don't know, a year ago, a year and a half ago, putting a dock for a trailer, and I believe that was also in the back. Is that in proximity to this in any way?
No.
Further up there, okay, just want to
They
make
never
sure.
put it in anyway.
They never did it, no, I know.
Okay.
That's why I want to see if they were changing things now.
No, there's no change.
Okay.
A4.
A4 is
So A4 is the view from Magnolia,
present.
present view. You go in there, trucks, deliveries. And this is the same view from Magnolia, and this that section right there, that's the only part of our addition that you would see from that section of Magnolia.
For the benefit of the board, in showing these renderings, could you just give us with the facade of the building, what material would that be?
It's going to be brick. Most of it's going to be brick, also a fair amount of it will be a synthetic stucco material. The brick is going to match the brick on existing buildings. So on the lower, there's actually 2 tones of brick in the back section, and the synthetic stucco is going to match the beige brick that's on the upper sections.
And going back to our A2, I'd like the board to be aware, when, as the commissioner asked, when we speak about the actual addition that will impact the ground, what are we talking about?
We're talking about these columns and this stair. This is an exit stair from our new floor.
Hence the small amount of lot coverage.
And the upper floor is going to be covered by drive-it?
Most of it, except for this section here, which is the
It's
stair.
stairwell,
But the most of it's going to be the synthetic stucco.
drive-it.
I have nothing further, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, questions by members of the board? Ms.
Yes.
Hawken? Higgins?
You were a little slow.
Yes,
Ms.
could
Higgins?
you hold that up again?
Oh, sure.
Could you show us where the entrance is to the building?
There is no entrance to
Oh,
it.
there's no entrance.
There's no entrance,
Oh,
you come in.
You're coming
Oh.
from the 3rd floor,
So,
OR
like-
suite.
Someone mentioned before that this was being done for the convenience of the patients and their families. How far would it be from the main entrance to get there? In feet?
I think Mr. Control could probably answer that question.
Do you have a photo or anything that could show us?
Well, the patients, when they arrive, would come in from either the main entrance.
And where's the main entrance?
Main entrance would be on the opposite end of the hospital.
How many main entrances are there?
Well, there's only one main entrance,
Okay,
and there's a
thank you.
same-day surgery entrance.
And so could you tell me how far the main entrance is from this?
It's at grade level, and probably, I wouldn't be able to give.
Okay, this is not at the same level as the main entrance, as far as I recall. This is at a higher level.
Correct, it's at the 3rd floor.
Third floor,
Okay, I'm just be concerned about emergency evacuation.
that's what stairwell is.
There's no
That's the reason.
entrance there?
That's the stairwell.
There is an
There
exit.
is an exit evacuation, yes, there's a.
But where does the stairwell lead to if there's no entrance there? Right there.
Needs to be outside.
It's an exit discharge, it's not an entrance.
Not an entrance.
No entrance.
Oh, that little door right there?
Yes.
Egress.
That's
thank you.
that's the door out the egress stair.
Yeah, that's not the board's call anyway, that's the public.
Thank you.
That's up there.
Any other questions by members of the board?
Yeah.
Yes?
You keep mentioning Magnolia. What do you mean, Magnolia Street?
Yeah.
Isn't there another street before that, on Belmont Avenue?
That you cross before you get to Magnolia.
Yeah, but it's Belmont Avenue, then it becomes Magnolia.
Belmont's on the other side, it's on the other side of north, the hospital.
Oh, it's in Belmont. I don't know why.
Yes, Mr. Mafucci.
The only entrance to this area would be the driveway off of Magnolia, correct?
Correct.
Therefore, all the steel beams, the bricks, all that would have to enter through that, and the crane to hoist it up, would have to enter through that driveway? My only concern, and that wouldn't be, is the infrastructure
That's
under
not our
there.
concern.
Because when they built the garage on the other side, we had a number of water main breaks. I don't know what's under Magnolia or that driveway.
This isn't the same heaviness.
That'll be for.
I'm not gonna say
That'll be
whether
for,
it is.
No,
yeah,
I
that'll be
know,
for Tom and
I
myself
just
to
wanted to see.
administrative here.
Not my call.
That was a 250-ton crane.
I don't think you'll be seeing that one in this.
But again, it's not my, that'll be up to you guys to make sure. If we approve the use, it's up to you guys to manage the project, not me.
Okay, any other questions by members of the board? Any questions by members of the public of the witness based upon his testimony? None, you may call any other witness you have.
Where's it?
Could you
raise your right hand, please. With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give show you the truth?
I do.
State your name, spell your last name, please.
Sure. Chris, last name is Cirrottti.
Cirrottti.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Cirrottti, you're a licensed professional engineer in the state of New Jersey?
I am, yes. I'm a licensed engineer in New Jersey. I have 25 years' experience, and I have appeared before this board on numerous occasions.
Okay, yes, those are your licenses in effect.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Mr. Cirrottti, you prepared the plans which are in front of the board,
I did.
and you're fully familiar with them.
I am.
Could you please just give the board a description of what is proposed?
Sure. First, I would like to,
We're up to
I guess we're going to
A6.
mark an exhibit. It's a colored version of sheet C101, which was submitted with the
A6.
application. So nothing changed other than just some color for clarity. Basically, and I've got my pointer here, so I can give you a show. Basically, we're talking about over here. This is Magnolia, so this is the rear or west side of the hospital building. This is basically all this gray area is the current loading service dock area. The addition is proposed here in orange, depicted in orange, again, mostly over the existing structure. There is a little bit of an overhang over onto the loading area. That is the stair that was already spoken about that will land at the ground and come down from the third floor, and then the 1, 2, 3 columns that will be on grade. Really, other than that building addition, the only other improvements that are occurring is that entire area you see there colored in gray will be repaved. So that will be, it's in disrepair now. It needs to be improved once the project's done, obviously. It would be repaved, and we would be actually installing several new concrete pads in there for the containers that are used for trash and waste containment and disposal. So collection of basically our cardboard dumpster will be located here now. There will be this is the medical waste container will be now located down here, our concrete pad down here that's existing. There'll be a new concrete pad placed here. That would be for the normal everyday waste, and then another miscellaneous debris container located here on a new concrete pad. The only other real improvement that we have is there's currently swing gates into this serviced yard. They are going to be removed and replaced with a slide gate. So it will be motorized. It'll be a lot better, a lot easier for that gate to slide out.
How high is the gate, Dave?
I believe it's if I'm correct, I believe it's a 6-foot gate. Let me just check my plan. Oh boy. I'm dealing with a reduced size set. I believe it's, is it 6 feet long? Thank you. Yes, 6 foot. Which is what the current gates are as well. We're just replacing the swing gates with
Is it
slide.
safe to have only a 6-foot high gate if it's going to be mechanical?
Is it safe?
Well, because somebody could reach up, that's my point.
That's what's there now.
No, right now it's not mechanical,
Yeah.
it's swing. You can't get your hand caught in a chain when it's a swing, that's my point.
The mechanism would have to be,
Exposed.
yeah,
It's not.
There's no way to get your hand in it.
No, the mechanism is kind of behind the gate. There's actually a,
So
go to this.
it could be a link here, it could be a chain, it could be a
right,
lot.
there's nothing over
Yeah,
here.
there's basically going to be a receiving pocket. The gate will slide along the existing building here, and the motorized equipment is on the inside of that, kind of in a pocket area. It's really not accessible to the outside. So
Okay,
on the outside, there's not going to be a safety issue with that at all.
all right.
And even the motor, the way they make that housing, it's quite safe.
Mr. Cirrottti, if I may, you were just talking about the concrete pads and for the receptacles. Isn't it true that in response to some of the concerns raised in the report of the township engineer, that all the containers, including those medical waste, were now moved inside the enclosure rather than outside, which they were before. Is that
That's
correct?
right. There was one container we had previously located, or planned to be located outside that yard. We've made some rearrangement to get it inside. I think it's a better plan. So we've addressed that.
That was the hazardous waste one.
That's what it should be inside.
Right. If I may, though, they term it hazard, it's actually medical, but you know, it's not like they're pouring in the
Is
water.
it red bag?
Yes. Yeah, you would
Yes.
refer to it as the red bed waiver.
Yes. And that's all now inside, is that correct?
That's right.
Reception is everything.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any members of the board have questions based upon the testimony given? None by members of the board. Any members of the public have questions based upon testimony given? None. Okay, your next witness?
Call my clearance.
Raise your right hand, please. With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth? You just state your name and spell your last name, please.
Svia Adar, spelled T-S-V-I-A, and the last name A-D-A-R.
A-D-A-R. You've appeared in front of us before, I believe, and qualified as a planner. Is your license still in good standing?
Yes.
I accept his order.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, just as a brief introduction to her testimony,
Yes.
the chairman asked before about the need for a D variance, which it is, there's no question. This is not a D1 variance, which would be one where we were seeking to introduce a use that is not permitted. What this is a D3, which means that we have to show that the site remains suitable for the use, despite the fact that we're increasing the coverage by this minuscule amount. So with that in mind, could you give the board the benefit of your analysis?
But just to state for the records that I reviewed the application documents, I conducted a site visit of the site itself and the surrounding area. I also reviewed your ordinance and master plan, and based on all this information, I prepared my analysis. The application, the property is within the RC zone. As you understand, it is a conditional use permitted in the zone subject to certain requirements. The only requirements that this application will deviate from is the building lot coverage, and I just want to emphasize that it's the building coverage, not the impervious coverage. So it's the footprint of the buildings in ratio of the entire area of the lot. So there is a difference, and that's why our attorney indicated that it's only the portion that is touching the ground level, which is in this case the stairway and the supporting columns. So the total area is 251, and it's only 0.03% of the lot. So it's a very minimal deviation. Unlike a regular use variance, the statutory criteria that is applicable to D3 variances was established in Coventry Square case law, and the court ruled in that case that it doesn't have to meet the same stringent statutory criteria as for the one that used in the Ditch case. And really the focus is on the deviation and not on the use, and therefore when we go through the positive and negative criteria, it's really more to see how the property is still suitable for the site and it's still appropriate for the site in spite of the deviation. So going to the special reasons, which is the first part of the positive criteria. Obviously, it's a hospital, it is an inherently beneficial use. The addition, as you heard, is going to improve the surgical area, which obviously continue and will improve the hospital services for the benefit of the public. So in that respect, obviously with the small deviation, it will still continue to be beneficial to the public. The improvements continuation of the surgical area on the third floor. So it's obviously the most optimal and suitable area instead of building another building or putting it in another area, basically just continuing it. Luckily, you have the lower building that you could build above it and continue the surgical area. So in that respect, also the most appropriate and most suitable area for that expansion. As you saw from the architectural drawings, it is a very aesthetically pleasing addition. It's going to be completely integrate within the existing architecture, and it also promote the visual environment. I think with all this, it's obviously satisfy the positive criteria. As to the negative criteria, again, the focus is on the deviation itself. I drove around the site. You can barely see that section of the building because it's on the interior side of the building. It's like a courtyard. And even if it's visible, I think that what you see is a very aesthetically pleasing building. So in that respect, there is no adverse impact on the property itself or the surrounding areas. So with that, obviously there is no substantial detriment to the public good of the surrounding area. It is also required that the application the applicant will show that there is no substantial detriment to the zone plan or zoning ordinance. And because the deviation is so small, it's really not going to be inconsistent with the intent, the legislative intent of this condition. Because normally when you have control of such type, typically for building coverage, the intent is not to create overly massive building complex or that will affect the visual impact or the surrounding area or the environment or other things. This building, by the way, it is going to be, the portion of the building that is going to touch the ground is on existing hard surfaces, so even the impervious coverage is not going to be extended. So all this deviation is not going to create any impact that the ordinance intended to avoid by imposing this type of condition. So obviously, for that reason, there is no substantial impairment to the zone plan or the zoning ordinance, or the intent of the ordinance by putting this condition. I checked your master plan. There was really nothing in the master plan that specifically for this type of deviation or that will be applicable, but generally speaking, obviously, this is consistent with hospital use, and it's not going to have any adverse effect. I would say that in conclusion, this facility clearly satisfies the statutory criteria applicable to D3. It's not going to result with any substantial detriment to public good or substantial impair to the intent and purpose of the zone plan or zoning ordinance. On balance, you're going to have a great benefit to the public, and it is by far outweigh any potential detriment or adverse effect. And I, from my professional perspective, I would like to recommend to the board to approve this application.
I have nothing further, Mr. Chairman, unless the board has questions.
Questions by members of the board of the witness? Questions by members of the public of the witness based upon testimony given? Any other witnesses?
I'm done, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, any members of the public wish to give testimony on this application? None, then you may sum up.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your time, Commissioners. I'd just like to reiterate what the testimony has shown, which is that this is a very small deviation from the condition that we cannot meet. The result of an approval tonight will be a state-of-the-art surgical rooms for patients at the hospital, the public that we serve, As the planner just stated, I believe that the benefits of allowing this deviation substantially outweigh any small detriment for the 250-plus foot coverage, and I would request that the board grant the requested variance along with preliminary and final site plan as well. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you.
Okay, gentlemen. It's up to you. Make a move. Motion made by Mr. Caruso to approve, seconded by Mr. Mafucci. Any conditions, gentlemen?
Whatever conditions you have.
Just the reports,
Complying with the engineering and
reports and construction start.
cut and store.
Repairs and normal, nothing unique.
Okay? Okay, clerk,
Five votes are necessary.
yes. Clerk, call the roll.
Caruso.
Yes.
Buchanan.
Yes.
Mafucci.
Yes.
Montalbano.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Milano. Del Garcia.
Yes, approve 7-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for your time.
Next case on the agenda. Wanna give you more? We'll have a recess and we'll come back at a quarter after 8. The Belmont Zoning Board of Adjustment for March the 3rd, 2016 will now come back into order, and we will be hearing the fourth case on our agenda, ZB 2015-33, 66 Belmont Avenue, limited liability, either company or corporation, also known as 6472 Belmont Avenue. Applicant is proposing a new 3-story residential building with 12 dwelling units. 18 parking spaces are proposed in the rear yard. Mr. Cosarelli, I assume you're the attorney of record.
I am the attorney of record as soon as I can find my affidavit. Provided Ms. Balbo with proof of mailing notice and a new method of getting return receipt cards from the post office.
Somewhat scattered, we noticed the proof appeared to be in order. Okay.
And they are in evidence as A1?
Yes.
Okay. You may proceed.
Okay, the board may remember this project since it approved variances for an 18-unit apartment building back in 2007. The project was to consist of a 4-story building. It was to be built on steel above grade. It was elevated so parking would be underneath it. So the variance portion of this, in terms of the use, has already been approved in terms of the multi-family units. We're proposing to scale it from 18 units down to 12 units. We're reducing the size of the apartments, and under the proposal, we have a total of 18 parking spaces for the 12 units, so there'd be a parking variance involved. We've repositioned the building somewhat. It is now on grade, as I indicated, so it's not built up. That reduces the height of the building so that it's probably less intense of visage from the street into the surrounding property owners. So that's in summary what we are proposing. This still remains what we call 66 Belmont Avenue. The lots have been consolidated. They consist of lot 3, 4, 5, and 6 in block 103.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Since we already approved 18 parking spaces before, and we gave a variance for that, do we need to give a second variance when you're
No,
turning it down?
no, I think this is more of a revised site plan application than anything.
I was gonna ask that question, so I'll ask our attorney. Do they have to give another variance? Or something
Well,
I mean, I don't
I
know.
mean, we already granted the variance for 18 parking spaces, and now
It's
we're going down
18
to
units. 18 units.
But
We're
I
down
thought
to
we
12
agreed
units.
on 18 parking spaces
No,
too back then.
No. There was more parking, but Mr. Delgertia, I'm sorry, I misunderstood your question.
Oh, okay.
It was 18 dwelling units.
Right.
We're proposing 12 dwelling units. I suggest that is not, no variance is required for that because we've already approved it for multi-family dwelling purposes, and we're reducing the total number of units.
I concur.
With regard to the parking,
How
I
many did we
believe there were
approve back then?
39 spaces, 37 spaces in the first approval.
Oh, we were, okay.
So
Under the building.
they were under the building.
I
So
don't remember this, yeah.
I don't remember that many units, parking
So-
I
spaces.
don't remember even voting on this.
Oh, I did, I voted on it.
I voted on it.
I don't remember it.
Mr. Cosroy, do you have a planner that you're planning on calling tonight?
No, because I didn't think we're not, I know, I had an exchange of communications with Mr. Hertz. He's indicated he suggested it was a D variance involved. I don't believe it is a D variance. I believe that
I don't believe so either.
the variance has already been granted for the use.
I mean, how could you deny when you already approved more units? Now, if he came in and asked for, we'll say 19 or 20 units, then it would definitely be a D, because you're asking for an increase of what was approved. But if you're asking for a decrease of what was approved, it can't be a D, it's impossible.
That's what I said in my report, that it reduced the old density variance that he had before, so.
That's what I'm saying, so it doesn't need a D then.
Has anything changed since 2007? The area, the lot, the
No, the
neighborhood?
zoning hasn't changed in that area.
No. Not that I know of.
No change.
Wasn't allowed then, it's not allowed now, but it's still less units than what was approved.
What is your plan tonight? Who do you intend to call
Architect,
to discuss the floor plan?
floor plan, the location of the building on the site, the parking schematic, the layout of the units, the dwelling units. We have the old plan, so we could show you what was previously approved, if you want that for reference.
The old resolution, didn't he? He's gonna review the old
No,
resolution
it's okay.
while you're talking.
Why do they have to be here?
Was it, it's the same as when Remo came before us. Remember Remo came before us and he lowered the plan?
Yeah.
Same thing here, it's the same situation.
We have to know we just can't approve 18 and they build 12. If they want to build 12, they need to come in and tell us so we can have a baseline as to what happened, where it's going, what the plans show, so Frank and Tom can have something to get their
Right.
teeth into in case there's a problem.
And there's also, I mean, it's clearly a change in the site plan.
That's it.
Obviously, that we've altered the site plan from what you approved.
And we have an updated report by Mr. Harris.
I'd call Roger Sorminiello as our first witness.
I do it.
Would you raise your right hand, please, sir? With regard to this
You have a
application,
sign, that's all.
do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, so help you God?
I do.
State your name and spell your last name, please.
Sure, it's Roger Sermonello, and it's spelled C-I-R,
C-I-R.
M-I-N-I-E-L-L-O.
Thank you.
Mr. Sermonello, you've appeared before the board qualified as an expert witness in the field of architecture before, have you not?
I have,
And you've testified before the board on many occasions?
yes.
Your
Your
license,
license is still in effect.
license,
That's all I care about.
Roger, if you'd step up to the easel. There's a series of plans that we filed with this application,
And
and
they're the same as what we have.
the same as what you have, but this, what's on the board right now is the prior plan. So I'd like to have that marked.
Why don't we mark that A2? That was the 18-unit plan?
That's the 18-unit plan.
You can
Show a comparison?
together.
All right, that's fine. So from a point of comparison, could you please give an overview of what was previously approved and the material differences between what was previously approved and what you're proposing in the plan that you'll be testifying to tonight?
Okay. As Mr. Cosarelli stated, the primary difference is that the previous approval allowed for parking at grade. And all of the spots, the 37 total spots, were arranged around, I guess what would be an ingress here, an egress, or either or. And what was brought to grade other than the parking was the core function of the building. So you can see this.
Meaning a stairwell?
Correct, and I guess a trash room. And then from there, again, you can see where the parking lies. This is just larger, but the floor plan was an arrangement like this for 3 stories above the ground floor.
So from the standpoint of someone looking at the building, it would appear to be a 4-story building?
Correct, that's correct. I don't have the elevations, but it's 3 floor plans like this that were stacked, and it allowed for
6 units on the floor?
there were 6 units on a floor, correct, and it was 12 2-bedroom and 6 1-bedroom, and the apartments themselves ranged from 900 to 1,600 square feet.
Okay. Total number of parking spaces in the first plan?
37,
And
18 units.
and the total number of units was 18?
18.
So now, if you can, take the A2 off the board, please. Now we're going to mark
A3?
A3.
Appear to be elevations.
We have floor plans and elevations.
We can get these in proper order.
And
A3 consists of the plan set that's been submitted with this application. That's something. So, A3
Of the submitted plans.
of the submitted plans. That's, we'll move that as A2. All right. Mr. Simonello, is this the plan that your firm prepared?
yes.
Okay, and could you describe, if you would, what's shown on the first page of A3?
The first page describes mainly the front elevation, which is looking from Belmont Avenue, and it also shows the right side elevation. The major difference that could be seen between the previous plan and our plan is that the ground floor, or the first floor, I should say, of the new building engages directly with, at grade, and it allows us to reduce from 4 stories to 3 stories. What you'll see on the floor plans also is that the access to the parking, the ingress and egress is on either side of the building.
Okay, would you please now refer to the second page of Exhibit A3? Describe what's depicted there.
Sure. The second page shows basically a mirror or reverse of that first page, which is the rear elevation looking from the parking lot at the rear elevation. Again, 3 stories. There is an entry from Belmont Ave. There are also entries from the parking lot side. And this is the left side of the building.
All right, so to be clear, on the first page of A3 and on page 2 of A3, you're showing doorways. When you enter the building to the apartments from both the front and the back of the building.
You can, that is correct.
Can you go to the third page of this exhibit?
Our drawing A3 shows a series of floor plans, and we go from what would be a foundation or a basement plan, which really just, I'll go a little bit in more detail after, but there's a very small, limited basement that would be just for utilities. The main idea of the ground floor would be that you can enter from either Belmont Ave or the rear area of the parking. From there, on either side, you can access either apartment, or you can, if you're on an upper floor, you can go in the stairwell and go up to either one of the second or third floors.
All right, so these are walk-up apartments, correct?
That is correct.
All right, so now could you please explain the typical,
You want it?
no, not in this plan. Now, could you please describe the layout of the various apartments?
The layout is, the layouts of the upper floors are stacked over each other. The ground floor is slightly different. It allows us to provide a common laundry and a common utility room at the ground level, and that for that unit, it reduces the bedroom by 1. So on the ground floor, we would have 2 units with 2 bedrooms and 2 units with 1 bedroom. As you enter the apartment, if you would enter this apartment on this side here, you would come in an area and go past the bedrooms. Of course, there are, the bathroom, and it opens up into an open kitchen and living area. We had to make sure that we were providing for 2 means of egress. So what you'll notice is that each one of the units, whether it's the ground floor or the upper floors, we have 2 means of egress from each unit that leads into what would be eventually a fire-rated staircase. Each of the units has an outdoor space. On the ground floor, there's a what would be a patio with I guess a rail, a railing area to keep it private. On the upper floors, it turns into a balcony or a deck. From the deck is where we provide the HVAC equipment. We were basing this around a particular type of unit that allows for a single unit with direct access to the outside. So the condenser is inside of that room. We don't have to provide a condenser either on the roof or at grade.
For that unit?
But it's for each, correct, but it's for each of the units. So each unit has their own,
Mechanical?
correct,
In the unit?
correct, correct. As I had said before, we would provide on the side of the building, and it's shown on the elevations, are gas meters. So on the right side and the left side, we provided for gas meters and electric meters. Inside, at the ground floor, we have another utility room. We can provide water meters there. And getting back to the basement area, or the cellar area.
So each apartment will have its own water meter, you saying?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
What's a condo?
I don't,
No.
well, we have the owner here, I don't think the anticipation is to make these into condos.
Because they're separate, and separate, pretty continuous.
The basement or cellar area would allow us for a separate water service for sprinklers. The entire building would be, of course, sprinklered. Each of our units at grade are handicap accessible. That would be from the parking area. I'll show you the parking. There's accessible spaces, dropped curbs, and a zero clearance entry into the building, and then, of course, to each of the 4 apartments at the ground level.
Okay. If we could proceed to what we're going to mark as A4, and go to the second page of A4.
What is A4?
A4 is a site plan that was submitted with the application.
So, if I may, before you get too far along, I have a question. You said that each of the units on the first floor are handicap accessible?
Correct.
How did you come up with that? The showers that way, or what? Are you considering handicap accessible because you can get in the building from the first floor?
No, that they would be fully handicap accessible.
Adaptable or accessible?
Accessible.
How, there's no elevator?
At the ground level.
It's at ground level.
Oh, ground level.
Ground level.
So, they're gonna be, the shower stalls and all that
Correct.
are gonna be, just a bump in and they're not gonna be regular.
Full accessibility.
Which units,
Shows the circle and the radius and the bathrooms in the
That's
first
what I'm
floor.
Yeah. If I may.
yeah, please.
Here.
Ah, there it is. That's what it was.
Clearances, doorways, aisles, like I said, leading from what you can see here are the 4 accessible parking spots to the drop curb into, correct.
That's what I didn't know.
Okay.
I was looking for the circle, I didn't see it.
It's there,
Okay.
a little bit light, but
Yeah,
what you said,
yeah,
yep,
yeah,
you got it.
I appreciate that.
Yep.
Now, if you could refer to the parking layout,
Yeah, as I stated
and you
before.
said ingress, and refer to the
Right.
ingress and egress.
The building was stepped back from both of the side property lines to allow for ingress, parking, of course, and then a separate egress. We also allow for a trash dumpster, or accessible parking spots directly adjacent to the rear of the building, and a landscaped area also at the rear of the property. We provide, as you can see, for 18 parking spots.
Now, the landscaped area was something that was indicated in the prior resolution, is that correct?
I believe so, yeah.
So how many handicap spots are provided?
4.
Four, including in the 18, right?
Correct. Not 4 on top of the 18, 4 as part of the 18, correct.
Are the spots assigned?
Say again?
Will the spots be assigned to a unit?
We can do that if that's,
I'm only asking, I don't know if it would, I guess the reason why I bring it up is, obviously we know parking's an issue here.
we can, I'd suggest if that's an issue, that we would certainly consent to a condition in the resolution of assigned parking.
I don't know, we haven't.
You have a total of 18 spaces.
Total of 18
Previously
for
was-
handicap, so there's 14 non-handicap spaces and 4 handicap spaces.
Got it.
So, we all know, and I'm happy with the amount of handicap, you know that.
Yeah.
But real world here is, now, technically that means we're down to 14
We're
if
down
you're
to
not
14.
handicapped,
Right.
So that's my like 11.
I don't know, I wouldn't know the code requirement.
4%?
I always defer to Mr. Harris and Frankie.
I think they only require one, because it's under 25 spaces. There would be one van accessible spot.
See, what I'm saying to you, my thinking is this, and believe me, I love handicap spots, right, I mean, honestly. But my point is, I have to be realistic in the sense that if you rent it to non-handicapped people, we just eliminate it.
You're gonna have 4 spots that are
Four
just
spots that
sitting
can't
there.
be used. So, and I'm saying, if you're the tenant that lives in the apartment and you're a handicapped person, and the spot is assigned,
Right.
then it's really the same purpose. You follow what I'm saying?
If the consensus of the board is that,
Well, I don't know, the board's talking, so I don't know.
well, if the consensus of the board was to increase the total number of spaces, there's 2 ways to accomplish it. One way is to reduce the total number of handicap spaces from 4 to, say, 2, and to allow us to eliminate the requirement of the green area, which is the landscaped area, and then we can put parking in that area as well.
And I'll speak only for myself, because for me, parking is key in this neighborhood.
In that particular neighborhood, we know there's no parking for anybody.
Right, so I have to be honest and say, I love greenery, but I also love handicap spots, but I gotta be practical and say, in my mind, the parking is paramount over the greenery, A. And B, if we can live to the code, and Frank, you can tell you, but I'm not gonna say what it is, Frank. Is Frank out there? I can't even say no.
Yeah, he went upstairs.
So whatever Frank says, or Mr. Harris says, the code is, if it's one or, we live to the code, and we provide more, like I say, and then we assign them.
Yeah.
And if they're assigned, then that handicapped person is still covered because they have an assigned spot.
Is there any, what if the handicap, say the building is occupied fully and there's no need for the handicap, can they be assigned at that time unless and until someone needs it?
A handicap visitor.
Right.
True.
I think
So I would like to see an increase in spots altogether.
the realistic proposition, in my view, is that we could certainly eliminate 2 of the handicap spaces, which would allow us to change those to regular spaces, and
Come up with more spaces.
We're gonna need
16 and 2.
Mr. Di Lorenzo to
be
make this
16
decision
and
because
2,
of what
and
happened
then
last
if we
time.
were able to build on-grade spaces
With the
where
landscape.
where the green area is,
We could add at least 2 more.
we could add 2 there.
So you could have 18 and,
We might
18
have-
and 2. 18 regular, 2 handicap.
Right, but can you get 3 in there?
I would have to look at it's close, it's possible.
Minimum of 2?
Minimum of 2 for sure.
Well, Mr. Harris, can you answer this question for me? Even the handicap spaces, when you do the calculation, you count them in it, right?
I think we can get 3.
So I'm saying,
I
if you,
think so.
if you add 3, now we went from 18 to 21, right? And so now we're at a more reasonable number in my mind, because, unless the board thinks I'm off base here, is parking at a premium in this neighborhood?
Absolutely. I agree with that part. All I'm saying is, based upon the case we heard last month, Frankie's the only one who could tell us what is the minimum required,
Yeah,
that we have no access over that decision. That's
No,
my
we don't.
point.
It's not our-
And I would like to get
I
him in
think
here
it's-
so we can get this cleared up.
I think it's 1 for the first 25,
I
but
think 2 is safe.
what I would do is do 2, and then you can increase the make it van, it has to be van accessible, so it's 8, 8, and 8.
Right.
And you just eliminate the striping
Yeah.
at one of the other ones, and you're good.
So we'll be at
19,
21.
21.
19 and 2. 19 regular spaces and 2 handicap.
Right,
Without the
21,
green.
yeah, 21, to me, that makes more practical sense. I mean, yeah, that's only my
And
opinion.
it's closer to the requirement
Of
to
2.
per unit.
Right.
It reduces,
Well, it's really, it all depends when you talk, they're talking about 1.8, but, we talk
That's
about.
RSIS.
Right, well, these guys use that, interchangeable.
Listen, I'll tell you what we're using. The total number that this board will agree that we can put on the surface area is what we'll live by. We're not gonna argue to you that RSIS is controlling or that the ordinance should be ignored. That's not the purpose of the case. The purpose of the case is to explain to you that we'd like to build the building. This is a bankable project, given it was not bankable, couldn't be built the way it was designed in the first instance because it was too big and it was just way too expensive. So this gets the project done, it brings a rateable into the town, and if we can improve the parking with a couple of modifications.
That's all. That's what we've heard several cases where, in this neighborhood, we all know parking is a premium. And I really don't want to make the neighbors pay the price for approving a project.
Agreed.
Not that many houses.
I'm just saying, we need to be consistent about our thinking.
Well, one of the biggest problems is the amount of bedrooms. Because you have way more bedrooms than you have parking spaces. Way more. Tremendous amount more.
Well, we can look at,
I mean, the first floor.
6 on each floor?
No, that's just it. On the first floor, there's 6. But on the second and third floor, 2, 4, 6, there's 8 on each floor. 8 and 8, 16 plus 6 is 22 bedrooms. You're talking about 22 bedrooms and only 18 parking spaces. So I think the problem is there's too many bedrooms. Now, if you did every floor like you did the first floor, it changes everything drastically. If the floor plan is the same on every floor, that would also mean that in a laundry room, what are you gonna have, a washer and dryer in a laundry room for the whole building? Just one washer and dryer for the whole building? Now, if you have them in the apartments.
There's 2, there's one on one side, one on the other side.
I'm not worried about that.
No, that's on each side. That's my
On each
point.
side.
Well, we're separate entrances and separate stairwells.
Right, and that separate entrance and stairwell has a laundry, washer and dryer, and on the other side, the separate entry and stairwell has those.
So that means 2, 4, 6. So there's 6 apartments for the one washer and dryer.
Correct.
That's not a problem. I have.
All right, I'm not saying that's a problem. What I'm saying to you is the amount of bedrooms is a problem compared to the amount of parking spaces. If you have all adults, just adults, I mean, Jesus, you got 22 bedrooms for 18 parking spaces.
But there could also be,
Could you again explain the square footage, the differential in the square footage of what was originally approved?
originally, it was a range from between 900 to 1,600 square feet per unit, per apartment. And we went from there to,
How many 2 bedrooms, how many 1 bedrooms?
in the original,
Yes.
in the original, it was 12 2-bedroom, 6 1-bedroom.
Okay,
So it's,
so you had 24,
and 6, you had 30.
and you had 37 parking spaces. You had more parking spaces than you had bedrooms. Now you have less parking spaces than you have bedrooms. That's my point. Now, if you had all as the first floor, which would have 6, 12, 18, you have 18 bedrooms, 18 parking spaces.
We have,
19 and then 2 handicap.
Well, at 19,
well, actually, I'm pretty convinced we could add the 3.
Yeah.
We could definitely get the 3.
So that's 20.
well, what I'm saying is you
21.
would at least have 1 parking space for each bedroom. That's my point.
But does that even allow, because, I mean, on one hand, we're assuming that it could or would be all 2 adults, which is not always the case. Could be an adult and a child,
Yeah, but
right?
it's a decent rule of thumb, though.
But I mean, that's the one extreme is,
Well, each apartment, what's the square footage of the apartment?
the majority of them are about 835 square feet.
So you're having a small apartment, and you're talking about having kids in small apartments.
One child.
But usually, in this area, because it's so close, and that's been the argument with all the cases that come before
Close to the light rail.
Yes, and that usually is because you have adults and the adults take the light rail, and they're not married, or they may have a wife and a husband, but they have no kids yet, and they use the light rail. But the thing is, everybody still has a car when they wanna go somewhere. The light rail is
It's
just
funny
to go
though,
to work.
as a side, we were just talking about that it is changing though, because really, people that are younger now, they're finding that they're not having cars the way sort of we did when we were that age. People at 18, 20, 22, they're abandoning their cars. They're not having
I don't know one person who has.
If you look at the statistics, for what it's worth, I'm just putting it out there. They are giving up their cars for a
The
lot of different
migratory
reasons.
pattern, and I know this,
He's talking about
the
the
suburbs to Hoboken
But
to
it's true,
Brooklyn.
it really is. Between Uber and everything else, people are like, if they don't need a car.
If you live in a town where there's all type of stores within walking distance, I'll give you an example, Hoboken.
Sure.
That I can understand. This is not Hoboken, this is Belgium. Okay? You wanna go eat, you're not gonna have walking distance to go eat the different restaurants in Belleville, especially in that area.
I'm only saying, my argument is that, on the extreme end, the high calculation of those amount of bedrooms and parking, it's one way. The other way would be one person living there, and then somewhere in the middle is kind of where we hit our parking. That's the way
We've all agreed tonight, parking is a premium in this area. And I'm not gonna have more people than you can have parking where there's gonna be a parking problem in that area. So in my opinion, you're going too overboard with the amount of 2 bedrooms. That's my opinion, that's not necessarily the board's opinion, but I'm gonna tell you right now, there's no way you could justify this. The old plan had more parking spaces than you had bedrooms. The new plan, you have less parking spaces than you have bedrooms. So you have to at least have the same amount of parking spaces as you have bedrooms.
So we
Otherwise,
need
this don't
22.
work.
According to your calculation, we need 22 parking spaces
Correct.
to meet this plan.
Yeah.
So we're one short.
Right now, they're at 21.
Now, if they what?
If they take out the green space, they can have 3, so they have 19 regulars and 2 handicap.
Well, now you said what, 3 handicap?
No,
Two.
First 4.
The way it's proposed is 4.
Frank,
4.
can we have one handicap?
Less than 25, yeah, less than 25
So-
spaces.
Oh, I think that solves the problem.
So if we reduce it to one handicap and we
Did I
construct
say
it,
that an hour?
yeah, you did.
Oh, okay.
I'm not arguing with you, I agree with you. It just was a validation, so if we have 21 total spaces with one handicap, is that an acceptable
I think
ratio?
that would be acceptable.
Well, for me, like I said, and you know I like handicap.
I know you do.
But as long as you assign the spots, I'm okay
We
with
can
that.
do that,
thought
too.
process. Because a handicapped person would still be covered.
And
I'm not
the 2
guaranteeing that
one-bedrooms, should only be assigned 1.
spot. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
Total amount of spaces that we're going to have? We have a total of
21
20 and 1.
total.
Still 21 total.
21 total.
Still 21 total.
Right,
It's
so
21
it's not
total with
enough.
one handicap versus
one
2
short.
handicap.
Right.
How
And
wide,
getting rid of the, what do you call space? Green
how
space.
wide are the handicap spaces? You're eliminating 3, so.
But they're 9 with the 5-foot
Yeah, but it's gotta be 8 and 8. If you're only gonna have one, it's gotta be 8-foot space, 8-foot striped area. The first one's gotta be van accessible.
We can do that.
So you could squeeze one more space in.
We might be able,
No, he's not.
You got rid of the green area?
With one handicap,
That's where the 3 are coming from.
what about the bollards?
Well, there's the exclusion area.
You have to have.
No, I know, I'm saying just taking
Yeah,
a,
you got the footing from Clara Maass there, all the way down.
Can't hear you guys back there.
Is there a problem where what do you call it, the garbage?
No, it's right there.
I look at it this way, Mr. Coswell. I think we've compromised pretty well.
Oh, you have, I'm
And
not,
maybe losing 1 2-bedroom might help us all out.
yes. we can
That's
do
what I
that.
thought.
so that'll be a total of,
21
bedrooms,
spots,
21
21
well,
bedrooms.
okay, how many 1-bedrooms will there be?
There will now be 3 one-bedrooms,
3 1 bed.
3 and 9 two-bedrooms.
correct.
And then what could be assigned? Yeah, that's a condition. Correct.
So 18, 21.
21 parking spaces?
21 bedrooms.
And 21 spots.
21.
Right, because he's changing one two-bedroom to a one-bedroom.
Where are we doing that?
That's up to them.
It's up to,
They're all identical, I don't know that it
And the
matters
first
one
floor,
way or
what do
the
you
other.
have?
We can,
On the first floor, on the interior, see here, because we put this laundry and utility here, we, in a sense, took a bedroom out. So this unit has 1 bedroom, as does the adjacent on the other side. So whether it's on a ground floor,
If it's my, if any input, it's up to you guys. I mean, I would like to see it on the ground floor, because, you come up, 2 birds with 1 stone. If it's a handicapped person,
Sure.
assign a spot, the other ones,
sure,
we can figure that out.
that's pretty easy.
Not changing the second and third floor makes it a lot easier anyway, so I think we would put it on the first floor no matter
to me,
what.
it'd be more.
Makes it a lot more sensible.
Actually, if you make all 4 on the first floor, 1 bedrooms, it's
Well,
all.
now you're killing the project,
How you
because
going for what? For what, 2 bedrooms? That's
it's
all
got
you're
to do
eliminating?
with, it's got to do with bank financing, and
I don't think bank finance is gonna make a big thing over 2 lousy bedrooms being eliminated.
Bottom line is, we have
And
21
not only that,
bedrooms.
you could add more,
We
you could
have
add more
21
utilities.
bedrooms now.
More,
That's what we needed.
more-
We need a 21 bedroom. That's what we have now.
20 ain't gonna destroy anything. Trust me, don't make a big thing over 20. And that solves it with no problem. It doesn't even bother with the handicap. The handicap's an extra spot.
I prefer not to compromise on that point, if possible.
Well, maybe I'll vote no then.
Well, you have that option.
I have that option. If you want me to vote no for 1 bedroom, that's okay.
I don't
I
want you
voted
to.
no for way less than that.
all right.
So, I mean, I don't understand it. If you eliminate 1, you can eliminate 2. And 2 is not a lot. It's not like we're asking every floor to be the same way as it was on the first floor. That's how we started this, and now we went down. But what I'm saying is, you can have more laundry space, and you have 2 less bedrooms, and it's only on the first floor, and the rest are all 2 bedrooms for the whole place. You're talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're talking about 8 2-bedrooms. And 4 1-bedrooms. That's reasonable. That's 2/3 2 bedrooms. And yeah, you could have a larger 1-bedroom on the first floor too. Yeah.
Well, the size would probably be the same size as the one that's there now.
I'm saying you just do it on both sides the same way, that's all. And that is the whole problem. All the 1-bedrooms will be on the first floor, and all the 2-bedrooms will be upstairs.
That decision's over my pay grade. No, I understand, I understand.
His point is, we're not eliminating an apartment. We're eliminating a bedroom.
That's all. I'm not going crazy.
Rather than saying, let's eliminate 1 apartment, we're saying eliminating.
Now, the access to the parking is from the side of the building?
Mr. Delgertia,
From the rear or the front?
we can accommodate the suggestion.
Okay. Now, the only question I have left, and I'm
Wait, is there a
talking to your
but?
architect,
No.
is
You can let him finish.
Well, I want to get this entrance to
No,
the
I wanna let
driveways
him-
and from the
you can let-
sides. This is not that big a lot, that's my point.
No, the entry, there's entries here, and there's entries from Belmont. If you look at the floor plan, it's a little bit easier. You just see it's
I know what it is.
directly from the parking area and directly from Belmont Ave. There's,
Perfect.
I'm confused, because I only saw this lot from Belmont Ave. I don't see any other access to it.
well, the building is positioned in a way, if you, this here is the mass of the building.
Right, in the middle.
Right,
Not
well,
in the middle
in
of
the
the
front.
lot.
No?
He's talking about the
Yeah.
entrance to the parking lot.
Sure, it's in-
Into the building or the parking lot?
Parking lot.
Oh, on the
Yeah,
sides.
on
On
this
the
side.
sides of the building.
Ingress, egress. On the side, on the sides of the building,
Follow
yes.
the arrows.
Right.
I
No,
thought you
I
meant-
agreed. When I was getting confused of where there was another accident.
No, I thought you
No.
meant the entry to the building.
No, no.
Okay, I got
the
it.
parking lot.
On
After
the sides.
14 years, I understand.
On the sides.
He's used to me.
Okay.
So we're at 4 one-bedrooms, 8 two-bedrooms.
On the first floor, we're gonna go with 4 one-bedrooms.
4 on the first floor, okay.
Okay, and that solves it. Everybody's happy. And we have the one handicap spot, everybody's, no problem. And as a condition, there will be parking, each two-bedroom gets 2 spots, each one-bedroom gets 1 spot. And you have the extra one for the handicap, the 21st spot, right? All right? Am I here?
Yes.
Assigned.
Yes.
Perfect.
There you go.
Amen.
We continue? Yeah, can we move on now?
Yes.
Mr. President, you're allowed to move on now. That nice?
I have no further questions of this.
And I just realized, with all this, that we do need the variance for the parking, because before the parking was okay, now it wasn't, so we do need the
There
variance.
is a parking variance.
Yeah, there is a park, I thought there wasn't, there is.
No, there is a parking variance. Mikey.
Yes, Mr. Mafucci, you have a question now.
A couple of things. I'm just curious, are these going to be rental units or ownership?
Mr. Catanzarite's here, he can answer.
Rental.
Okay.
I'll represent to the board's rental. If you want Mr. Catanzarite sworn in, you could be sworn in and say that.
Is there gonna be separate, utilities for heating?
Yeah, each unit has separate HVAC, heating, separately metered.
Okay, so there'll be a lot of use of the basement.
The basement, there is no basement.
No,
There's a
very, very minor under the stairs,
There's a very small excavated area
unoccupied.
that's unoccupied for utilities only. There's no basement.
For utilities? Below the building or on the first floor?
Below, but if you look at the floor plan,
You'll see.
underneath the stairwell,
You'll see.
Right.
it's a very small area, like I said,
You
unoccupied
gotta be
area.
able to fit all those hot water heaters in there, that's my point.
No, no,
How many units?
the water heaters are in the utility, in the HVAC closet, for each unit has their own water heater.
That's why I commented before to Mr. Cosarelli, and I believe he had testified, or his client, that these are not going to be condominiums.
They're not.
They're gonna be apartments.
These are gonna be in the unit or on the first floor?
In the unit.
In the unit.
Each,
Where?
look on the deck, look adjacent to the deck.
If you look where the porch is.
Oh, okay, up here, all right, they're
There's a
outside.
designated HVAC.
All right.
There's,
Gas and electric meters will be on the outside, on the sides of the building. And on the ground floor, there's a utility room where we could put the water meters for, for heating and freezing purposes. And the sprinkler,
Can I ask a question? Because you're saying that, and I'm looking at the plans. On the first page, on the right, are those the electric meters where the driveway is?
correct,
Is there any possibility of a problem with the cars hitting it?
bollards, I think, bollards, we're sure
Bollards.
bollards.
Okay.
That's up to Frankie anyway.
Yeah, in the construction documents, we'll make sure that we're protected. Yep.
It's not in our, scope.
You got one more
It's a
question.
Frank scope. and Tom has-
Mr. Mafucci has another question.
The HVAC units that are in a separate area outside,
Correct.
is that open to the outside, or is it?
The access is from the patio or from the,
door?
correct.
About for it to.
no, it's
It's,
not.
there's,
It's a constructed area, isn't it?
they are, but the units are designed in such a way where it gets all the fresh air and the combustion air that it needs from,
To the door.
well, there's a louver on the back.
Okay.
So it functions that way, and it allows us to keep the whole unit, correct. They're called magic packs, because they are, for these purposes, they're like magic, they work really
Why
well.
don't you get fresh air from somewhere?
Exactly, exactly. And each unit will have that for its heating and cooling purposes.
In the rear of the building, on each corner, you show 6-inch bollards.
Mhm.
What is their function?
just general,
As long as to protect the electric meters,
yeah.
right?
They may,
Protect the building.
excuse me.
Okay. And between the parking spot and the patios, what's gonna separate? What's to keep a car from going into the
Wheel stops. Wheel stop, concrete, wheel stop. There is a curb, absolutely, but more direct, I guess, would be a wheel stop.
No, she doesn't.
Now I'm done.
Is there any storage in that building?
She said she trusted
Each
me.
apartment?
We do not have separate storage per se, no.
On A3, page A3. So there's no, we don't like, I hate confusion. On page A3, on the right, is one supposed to be 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and the other one 3A, 3B, 3C? Because they're identical, they're both 2Ds, 2Ds. You understand where I'm coming from?
Yeah, I think it may have just been a graphic error on,
Unit 3A,
Exactly.
3B, 3C, 3D.
exactly, it's just a graphic issue.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Sure.
I have a question, but this is directed to my board members and to Mr. Rego. It's a legal question.
Okay.
As we all remember, 3 months ago, we had a very prolonged case involving Brighton Gardens, and that application was mostly denied because of a density issue. Mr. Calandra wanted to increase to approximately 41.
I can give you your answer right now. The density issue is not an issue tonight because it was already approved 9 years ago.
Yeah, this is
I
site plan
understand
only
that, but
for 18.
if this application is approved, could Mr. Calandra use this
No,
case?
because it's a different area, it's a different time frame and everything.
I just want to make sure that we were
Yeah, this is
covered.
different.
It is, but it's a totally different area. It's nowhere near his property.
But it's a good question.
It is a good question.
But it's still the density issue of 12 units allowed, and he wanted to go from 33 to 41.
He wanted to go up. They're going
Every
down.
project has a
Yeah, there's a difference. See, here, this is the opposite of what he wanted to do. His was a D, because even though he had an approval, he wanted to go up. This is not a D because he was going down. And there's no Morris Canal in the backyard, yeah.
Neither is there over there.
There's no Higgins
All right,
scale.
can we move on?
Yes.
All right.
Any other questions by members of the board? Did you have a question?
Good question.
Go ahead, Ms. Higgins. See, I said your name right now.
Is there going to be any on-site maintenance, somebody living there to maintain the property?
Not that I'm aware of, but
Maybe, I'm not sure.
yeah, Mr. Tanzerai may be able to answer that better.
Yeah, swear him in, because that issue is...
You're gonna need to answer the questions.
If you could raise your right hand, please, sir. With regard to this application, do you swear to tell the truth, so help you God?
Yes, I do.
Could you state your name and spell your last name, please?
Dean Catanzarite, Catanzarite.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Tanzarite, could you, now that you're sworn in, answer the question that was posed by Ms. Higgins?
There may or may not be an on-site maintenance guy, individual living in the building, but we own a maintenance company, so we have maintenance people that maintain our properties.
Thank you.
But security systems, security in that area.
There'll be a security system.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of, obviously, locking doors and, I don't know if there's,
Cards or
yeah,
keys?
It's not an open building. Just to answer the other question that was placed on the record, this is a market rate rental building, correct?
What would be the lighting in the parking area in the yard? Because it will be in the yard. So what would be
we were
lighting?
proposing lighting from the facade of the building itself.
And that would be on 24 hours?
Or dawn, dusk to dawn.
Okay, that's good.
Probably
I'm sorry, I didn't mean 24 hours, I mean
evening hours.
evening hours.
There's a code for that, right, Frank?
Yeah, I think it's stairwell.
I should have said it. That's the dawn is good, yes.
Frank is not gonna allow him to put something that he can't put.
Yeah, and maybe there'll be motion detectors, because you also.
That would probably be better, because that way you wouldn't have any neighbors complain about the lighting.
Lights going in their house.
That way if a car drives in, the motion detector will set it off, and at least they'll be safe leaving their car and going into the building.
Yep.
That's what I'm concerned about, leaving the car and going into the
Understood.
building. And nobody's waiting for them in the parking lot. Any other questions by members of the board? Any questions by members of the public, of either witness, based upon testimony given? Do you have another witness or not?
No, that's it, Mr. Dawes.
Okay, do you want to sum up then?
I just have one question, so is there fencing or anything going around the lot?
Actually, we're gonna use Mrs. Burke's back
That's
here.
all she wants.
Yeah, but you'll bother her because she wants the privacy of her pool.
Yeah, it's over.
I know, you can't see her
See, it's
pool.
specifically indicated, but
Actually, from the second or third
should
floor.
fence all the way, we won't fence all the way on the three sides.
Okay.
Standard 6 foot.
I would recommend, when you get the lighting, just use I wouldn't use a spotlight, I'd use some kind of wall pack that just covers that will kind of just go to zero. at the back
Swear
of
in
the
Mr.
property.
Hurwitz, please, because if he's gonna give testimony, we have to have him sworn in officially.
Tom, with regard to this application, do you swear your testimony will be the truth?
I do.
Tom Herrick, board planner.
So I think with the fence going around, that instead of spotlights, I would use like some wall packs on the facade of the building that
Fade the-
go to zero at the back rear property line.
Makes sense.
Can be done.
Okay. All right, then, you wish to sum up, or you just leave it to us?
I will leave it to the board's discretion since it's 9:09. I appreciate you taking the time to consider this.
Especially since we started so early. Do I have, it's up to the board, I need a motion here.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion made to approve by Mr. Smith, seconded by Mr. Giordano, he has to have a chance tonight. Mr. Rego, would you please bring up all the conditions?
We had, we're going to have four one-bedrooms on the first floor, 8 two-bedrooms on the second and third, four and four, a total of 12. Assigned parking spaces, we're gonna have, I believe, 20, what I'll call regular parking spaces and one handicap each. The two bedrooms will get 2 spots, one bedroom will get 1 spot. 6-foot fence around 3 sides of the property. Are we still talking about motion detectors in the?
Yes.
In the parking
Motion
area?
sensors.
Start construction within
2 years.
2 years, normal conditions. That's currently what.
Anything else needs to be said?
Anything in the reports that was not picked up in discussion tonight.
Mr. Harris, report.
And it's for site plan, amended site plan, site plan and parking variances, and I believe Tom mentioned,
1 handicap spot.
1 handicap
And
spot.
20 parking.
No handicap spot, don't put that in there as a condition.
Oh, okay.
No, because that's my powers.
That's automatic.
Right, yeah, so.
Well, I'm just saying that the total is gonna be 20 and
21
1.
parking spaces.
That's all, not as a condition, but 20 parking spaces and 1 handicap for 21, that's all. So it's on the record for a total of 21.
Yeah, I would just leave 21 spaces.
20, I'll leave 21. And so we got a parking variance. And,
But 1 is enough, right, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
and parking within 5 feet of a property line and site plan, amended site plan. That's it.
Okay.
What about the light that Mr. Hurd just mentioned?
I think we said that, motion
Oh,
detective.
yeah.
The report called for lighting details, so
We'll
it's
get
covered
to
by
it.
my report.
Lighting detail.
The green area that was previously designated.
That
is eliminated.
Is eliminated.
Eliminate landscape, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Okay. Are we ready? Clerk, call the roll.
Caruso.
Yes.
Giordano.
Yes.
Cafucci.
Yes.
Montalbano.
Yes,
Smith,
Yes.
Milano,
Yes.
Delgertia.
Yes, approved 7-0.
Thank you.
Last case on our agenda, someone here for that?
Yes.
Okay. That's 570 Union Avenue, BB 2015, 31. Certification of a non-conforming use.
Good seeing you. Been a long time.
Sit down. Is it ready? No,
May start, sir.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the
Oh, wait,
board.
excuse me 1 second, please take a look at this.
Proof of,
Notice the publication appear to be in order. Okay.
Thank you.
okay, sir.
Mr. Chairman, members of the board, professionals, my name is Chris Colabello. I'm here on behalf of the applicant. This is an application for certification of a non-conforming use. And what I provided in the application is a letter, which I think from Mr. Lorenzo, which details the tax history of the property. And in his letter, he indicates as far back as 1963, the property was assessed as a 5-apartment unit building. And that's the non-conforming use that we're asking to be certified. The property has, since that time, been consistently and continuously used as a 5-family up to the present time. After going through not only the tax records, but also looking at the zoning map from 1961 that was in effect at the time the property at issue was a 5-family, it was in a business zone. And looking through the ordinance, it's clear that it complied with the zoning ordinance of Bellleville back at that time for a 5-family. So it was legal at the time that it was established as a 5.
Well, I want to look at this property, sir.
Excuse me?
I went to look at this property,
Yes,
and I would like to know,
yes.
how is it a 5-family? Because it looks to me like a 4.
It's been a 5-family.
Well, explain to me how it is.
I
Where
will.
is the apartments?
Yeah, I'll have him
Swear the
sworn,
gentleman
please.
in, let him give testimony, and you have pictures of utility meters or anything?
No, I don't. I just have I have a picture of the building.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you look at the building, it looks like a 4-family.
Okay, I'll swear
Right.
Mr. Guglielmo.
With regard to this application, do you swear the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Just state your name and spell your last name, please.
Salvatore Guglielmo, G-U-G-L-I-E-L-L-O.
Thank you.
Mr. Guglielmo, you are the owner of this property, it's 570 Union Avenue?
Correct.
And how long have you owned the building?
Since 2000.
Okay,
I'm sorry, since 2010.
in 2010, and how did you come to be the owner of the property?
My father passed away and left it to me.
Okay, and your dad, how long did he own the property?
He purchased it in 1977.
Okay, and so the property's been in your family since then, 1977?
Correct.
Okay, and going back to 1977, when your dad originally purchased the property, were you ever at the property?
Yes, we've been there a couple times. My father owned a shoe store in town, and I actually remember going into the back and delivering Mrs. Birdie her shoes. Played delivery boy back then too. But my father, Mrs. Birdie came to the shoe store, and that's how he met her and eventually bought the building from her.
Okay, so at the time that your dad bought the building, there was 5 units?
Correct.
And do you have any independent knowledge with respect to the use of the property prior to your dad's ownership of the building?
Well, Mrs. Birdie split up the back unit. She has three units, 3 rooms in the back, split as an L. The building, you're right, was originally built as four room apartments.
When was it
Mrs.
built?
Birdie-
When was it originally built,
It was originally, when was it originally built?
the house, as far as you know?
I don't remember if it was 2000, I don't remember if it was 1912 or 1923. I think it was 1925.
They were railroad apartments at the time? You know what I mean by railroad?
Straight down, yes.
Yes.
Yes. So the 2 top apartments are just as you said, straight down. What Mrs. Birdie did is she took 3 rooms in the back, 2 across and 1 going like an L shape, and that's where she lived. And then she rented the other, she had a studio in the front with 2 rooms here, and on the left side of the building, there was 3 rooms going down.
And that's on the first floor?
That's on the first floor.
It's in the back.
If I remember, I'm sorry.
It's in the back, right?
And, there's 1 in the back and 2 with a front entrance. I remember her doing that, and she said something like, when her husband died, she needed the money, so that's why she did that.
Did she say when she did it?
Did she say when she did it?
When was it a 5?
It was picked up in
As far as you know.
63.
In 1963. I looked at, I asked for the tax records, and one I found said it was taxed as a 5-family in 1969, and then Mr. Covola and Frank found it was 63, so.
You have 5 gas meters, 5 electric meters?
No, what I have is 3 gas meters. I pay the gas for the first floor. I'm sorry, I have 4 gas meters. I pay all the gas for the first floor. The heat and hot water I supply and electricity for the first floor. 2 bills come to me, I just pay them. Because they're later split up, I just pay it. The 2 upstairs are independent.
So the 2 upstairs were always 2 separate upstairs?
Correct.
And the 2 downstairs, when she converted it, she never put a new
Jeff?
gas in it?
Correct. So let's get to the root of the issue here.
Yes.
Because really, it's irrelevant what you're talking about now. So, we're talking about, it was, in 1963, it was picked up, right? Prior to 79 or 77, right? The only other ordinance that's relevant would be 1955.
Right.
Right? However, and I can't, and Frank would know better than me, or Mr. Evans, it was a permitted use in this area back in...
Up till when?
Up to when, Frank? We have Frankie here, that's what we're supposed to
I
ask.
believe 79 was the ordinance that changed, Will, or
Right,
77?
79 or 77.
So 55 to 79 probably permitted it back then.
Yeah.
Permitted a 5.
Right.
So they predated the zone change by
Frankie, let me,
dozen years.
but I want to ask Frankie a question, because he's the construction code official.
Okay.
As the construction code official, in order to have separate apartments, do you have to have separate utilities, yes or no?
No.
Okay, just wanted to ask that question on the record.
Yeah, and so, like I say, I'm not even gonna say to you here that, what was her name, the lady who keep,
Mrs. Birdie.
I'm not saying what she did was right. I'm just saying, the fact is that it was permitted. You know, whether she got permits or not is not the issue here, correct? Frank, am I right on that?
Correct.
Okay.
Frank,
So-
Mayor?
Yeah.
Frank,
Yes.
is there proper ingress and egress on the apartments that you know of?
Yes, yes. It's not, it's not today's standards, because we're going back the way it was, yeah,
Right.
because they're not doing any construction, yeah.
Let me ask one other question, if I may.
Sure.
You have green cards from the state?
Green cards?
If you inspected by New Jersey?
Yes. I have had fire inspection done. The state inspected it. 3 years ago, I had to put in a monitor alarm system for the basement, fire alarm system. William Hand inspected it, Fire Hand
So
inspected
they
it.
sent you that little green card?
Yes, I don't know where it is though, to tell you the truth, but yes,
Good
I
thing you might
have.
wanna find out. It's
Plus
supposed to
a
be
lot of
posted.
paperwork for that. But, I have an alarm system the fire department recognizes as a 5-unit apartment.
Can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Why, when I went and checked, and I went and checked that, I went all the way around the building, why is there only, or I only found 2 bells, 2, in the front, that's it, on the left?
I started replacing them and I never got done.
How many people are living there right now? How many families?
Well, the apartment in question, the apartment that started this whole thing is vacant. The studio, the tenant moved out, so I applied for a CO. And I can't rent it because of the way it's situated. There's a shower or a door or something, so I couldn't rent it. So that's vacant. So right now I have four apartments rented.
And they've been rented continuously.
Frank, you want to enlighten us,
Yes.
what is this all about?
What's that?
What happened? He came for a permit?
It came for a rental certificate,
See,
Okay.
a rental certificate.
And
yeah.
what happened? What problem
We
did he find?
denied him because we found out it was only 4 that I have, that's why he's here.
But what is he talking about this entrance thing? What is he?
No, the shower. What happened is,
Shower,
there's a,
what's
they made a, I want to be careful how I say this. They put a stupid shower in, and they didn't put it in the bathroom. It's like just a shower door off the kitchen.
It's an old shower, very, very old.
Thank you.
In other words, not up to code, is what you're
No,
saying.
it's not up to code, and that's why.
So
That's up to
does
you.
he have to take certain permits out to finish this up, to get this right? So he can
unless-
rent it?
Yes, no permits, just the rental certificate to make sure. I might need some GFI outlets and that's it.
But I mean, you don't have to fix this shower business or anything.
No, unless it's a hazardous, we're not gonna make
I
them to
was gonna-
retrofit to today's code.
I understand, I just want to know because I'm wondering if this guy will take out permits to do this right.
he won't get a CO if he doesn't meet
Yeah,
what Frankie needs to meet. That's
So
understandable.
right now, you have 4 units rented?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, because we shut them down from renting the 5th one.
All right.
That's been
Which
since
is the one in the building.
63.
Yeah, it wasn't selling, it's a little different.
Yeah.
Selling.
Get it?
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Yes.
But, again, and I'm not glossing over the fact that the previous owner did the wrong thing. And unfortunately, it was
I mean,
permitted.
the ancient owner.
Huh?
Yeah.
He's owned this thing for what, decades now, this man.
No, but prior
I'm not
to
talking, he didn't convert it.
No, I
No.
don't.
Birdie.
Bernie did.
Birdie,
Right.
and she sold it to your father how long ago?
77.
77. That's when I first moved to Bellleville, so that's like 8 times. I wasn't even married.
I remember Christine Hunt. Okay, I have no further questions.
You have everything you need?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have nothing further.
Okay. Any members of the public have any questions? I don't see no public here at all.
Yeah.
Okay, any members of the board have any further questions? Yeah, you need to sum up, or you just want to?
No, I was
Okay, gentlemen, your pleasure. Motion made to approve by Mr. Caruso. Do I get a second?
Yes, I'll second.
Seconded by Mr. Montalbano. See, everybody gets a turn tonight. Clerk, call the roll.
Caruso.
Yes.
Unanimo.
Yes.
Mafucci.
Yes.
Montalbano.
Yes.
Smith.
Yeah.
Milano.
Yes.
Delversio.
Yes, approved 7-0.
Good, thank you.
Thank you.
Resolution to be memorialized.
Say hello to Mark Kruger.
And will everybody please stay until after the meeting, because I want something to say to the members.
Thank you, everyone.
You're welcome.
No, not the same, no, this one's really good.
All right, here we go. ZB 2015-19, Anello,
Yes, the barber shop.
Montalbano,
Yes.
Smith,
Yeah.
Sheldon.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Mafucci.
Yes.
Milano.
Yes.
Delversio.
Yes.
ZB 2015-24, PCF Holdings, Montalbano.
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Sheldon.
Yes.
Higgins.
Yes.
Mafucci.
Yes.
Milano. Delversio.
Yes. Motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. Motion made by Mr. Belmont.